Good morning. Hey, Maurice.
They call me Murray.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Okay, I will call you Maury. And as with Ray, I don't know, did you introduce yourself yet?
Yes, informally.
Murray.
Okay. Murray, I've been doing this about 10 years, interviewing World War II veterans or veterans, be they Korean War or Vietnam, etc. So I guess what I'm saying is Ray and I have been doing this for a while, and we still enthusiastic about it, and we look forward to it. And it's nice seeing you. And Ray, why don't you start out?
Okay, Murray, I have to read a little opening statement just for the record, and then we'll get rolling. And again, I want to remind you, we both listened to your earlier interview, so the questions that we have are going to be follow-up. We know some things about you already. Okay. This is Ray Eberling with Don Obrist from the University of Florida Samuel Proctor Oral History Program. And today is October 27th, 2020. I'll be talking to, could you state your name, sir?
Maurice Zolkower.
Okay, also known as Murray.
WWII.
And are you, do you live in Dunedin, is it?
I live in a retirement community called Meese Life.
Okay. And this interview is part of both the University of Florida Digital Library Collection and the Library of Congress's American Folklife Center's Veterans History Project. So that's what you are being immortalized for. Those
very nice.
Thing. And again, this is a follow-up from the August 30th, 2020 interview that your niece, Helene Ryan, did with you. So having said that, I know one of the things you mentioned very briefly was that you were grew up in Manhattan, went to Stuyvesant High School. But beyond that, I have a couple of follow-up questions for that. When you were growing up in New York City from 1921 till you left for the service, your neighborhood there on East 56th Street, were the neighborhoods at that time, were they pretty much made up of people from the same background? In other words, were there Jewish neighborhoods? Were there Irish neighborhoods?
There was a lot of Jewish people, but there was Irish, there was Italians. It was a nice place.
And I looked at the map, and it looks like you were near some things like the new Chrysler building going up and some museums.
Yeah. And right now, that place is Sutton Place, New York, a very fashionable address. Mm-hmm. First and Second Avenue, 329 East 56th Street.
I have a friend my age I talked to recently who grew up in Brooklyn, and she said not only her grandparents, parents or grandparents, plus most of her friends, their parents or grandparents either could speak Yiddish. Did your parents or grandparents, or did you speak Yiddish?
I didn't speak Yiddish. My mother and father spoke Yiddish and German because they were from Austria.
Okay, that's what I had wanted to ask. And did you know any German or at all?
No.
Okay.
I knew German when I got to Germany during the war.
Yeah. Okay. This is kind of a personal question, but you mentioned it in your earlier interview. I believe it was your mother's parents that had been killed in.
Yes.
Was that in Austria or Germany? Where was that?
Austria. Czernowitz, Austria.
Okay. And do you know about what year that was?
I think that must have been 39.
Okay.
I think so. I'm not sure.
Okay. Don, if you have any questions in that category, if you'd like to move on to some of your questions that we discussed.
Do you know where your mother's parents died?
When they died?
Where?
Where? In Austria, Czernowitz.
Okay.
They were murdered by the Nazis.
was it a camp that they were in, or was it a different type of situation in which they were killed?
Where they were residing in the city. They just
Okay.
gave up, dragged them out and killed them.
Okay. One of the questions I have for you concerning the beginning of your military career, I see where you, in 1939, you joined the New York National Guard.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you, now correct me if I'm wrong, was it the 45th Division?
No, 44th Division. This was
44th?
when I was in the National Guard was the 44th Division.
Okay.
I was there for a year, and it was federalized, and I had to get out of school and go to Camp Dix for a whole year in the National Guard. I was in B Company, 114th Infantry.
Now, in 1939, why did you join? Now, that was voluntary, obviously.
Yes,
why did you join the National Guard?
They were going to give me, I think it was $15 a month, which is a lot of money, and you go twice a month, and it was easy. But I didn't know they're going to go and federalize it. And that was
Right.
for a year.
Right. Or the international situation changed pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The reason I kind of hone on that from a personal standpoint is that I joined the New York National Guard 31 years after you in the 42nd Division.
That's the Rainbow Division?
Yes, yes,
I know that,
yes,
right.
exactly, exactly. So basically you joined because, quite frankly, the money, right?
That's right.
That's right. How did you feel when you got federalized? That must have been a shock.
I didn't feel good.
It didn't feel good.
I was going into my second year at the Columbia University College of Pharmacy.
Oh, so it interrupted your studies.
Of course.
Yeah. Now, you said you were federalized for a year, so only up through 1940?
Yep.
Okay. So, okay, you were federalized, and then a year later, 1940, they deactivated you. Did you think that was...
That was my deal. I was going in for a year, and they let me out.
Okay, 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 okay. Now I see where you must have been activated again after Pearl Harbor. Was that it? I think we're frozen here, right?
Yeah, I think his screen is frozen. There he goes.
That called back. I once again interrupted my schooling from the Columbia University College of Pharmacy.
Okay. Your screen froze up a little bit. So when were you activated for the second time?
1943, I think September. I don't remember.
Okay, okay. And how many years did you have left on your studies for pharmacy school?
Let's see, I had about a year and a half. It was tough because, like, when I got out, I had to wait for to get the semester, and it took time. It took time. I
Okay.
didn't graduated with a BS until 1948. And I was discharged from the regular Army in 1946.
Okay, and I know we'll touch on that a little bit down the road here. Now, when you left the States, you said in your first interview you shipped out to Bath, England?
Yeah, Bath.
Okay.
No. I got to what do you call it? There was the Clyde. Then we took a train to Bath, and we were billeted in private homes. It wasn't bad.
Do you recall the people who welcomed you into their home?
No, I don't remember.
No?
They were nice
No.
people.
Okay. What was it like being welcomed into strangers' homes and then having to live there?
It
How did that feel?
was an enlightenment. It was something to see and learn. Yeah, they took good care of us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You learned a little bit about the English, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, did you also eat your meals there?
No, we had got out. We had to form our ranks, and we ate in some kind of a big tent or something. I don't remember. Tell you.
Okay. So was it like you would leave the house in the morning, like going to work?
Something like that.
Okay. Okay. Have breakfast, formation, drills, etc., training, right? Now, as I understand it from your last interview, when you reached the continent of Europe, it was 6 weeks after D-Day.
Yeah. Yes. We went. We got it to France on Omaha Beach. We got in a big ship. Went over the ladder, the rope ladder, into a landing barge, and went into what do you call it? Omaha Beach. Walked right into France.
Can you give us kind of a description of what you saw? Now, this is 6 weeks after the landing.
It's all cleaned up. I mean, everything. The beach was clean. It was just like that hadn't been touched.
But I'm sure there was a lot of activity.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of activity.
They were bringing in a lot of material.
Yeah, at that time, I was with the 7th Convalescent Hospital. See, when I got back to the service in 1943, I didn't want to go back in the infantry because I was a pharmacy student, and I had to stay in Camp Yaphank in Long Island for instead of 3 weeks, I was there about 2 months, and I finally got into the medical units. And I was lucky there. I don't know if I was lucky. The medical unit I was in was a lot of blood.
It was an infantry unit, right?
No. I was in the 7th Convalescent Hospital.
But were you attached to an infantry group?
No.
No.
I was a medic.
Okay.
I had no pistol, no gun, no nothing. I had a little book from the Red Cross and some other unit. No. And I had a Red Cross band on
Right.
my
Now, do you feel that it was a situation where you had adequate training for the mission you had, or you were just rather thrown into it?
I was trained as a dental technician, and I went to Fitzsimmons General Hospital in Denver, Colorado, for 3 months. Trained to be a chairside assistant, but I didn't do much of that.
Okay. Now, when did you start noticing, after you landed, 6 weeks after D-Day,
Yeah.
and then you pushed into the continent, further into the continent, when did you start noticing German resistance?
Well, you see, they had to capture St. Lo in order to keep going up further. And they had a lot of trouble with the hedgerows and all that stuff, which they finally got an idea to put something on the tanks to push the hedgerows down. So that when they captured St. Lo, they were going to Paris. They were trying. And we had our hospital, a 7th Convalescent Hospital, was a big tents, taking care of the wounded that went back to duty. Convalescent Hospital. And I was doing that for quite a while. And it's kind of foggy, but we got back to, when we got to Paris, I think in August 1941, I believe. I don't really remember now. Anyway, that's what I did.
And so you were involved in treating the wounded from this battle in St. Lo?
Oh yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. Being a dental technician, I didn't get into the 45th Division yet. But when I was in the 45th Division, being a dental technician, they put me in the what they call the clearing company. It's like now you check the wounded. If they're not in bad shape, you take care of them. If they are, you send them to the field hospital, etc., etc., etc.
Mhm. So you saw all types of situations, battle. Yeah,
Please, a lot,
right,
a lot.
right. Anything you care to talk about, or?
No, it's not all blood. Being a dental technician. This is after I got back past Paris. We got into a place in France called Étampes. It was a German stronghold. They pushed them out of there, and the Germans left a big, big, big hospital. Clean, neat. They left a big 5-story apartment building where we were billeted. It was like living in New York, you know? And it wasn't bad. And as I was saying, we were taking care of in that hospital, we had about 375 beds. All these fellas going back to service. And I was a dental technician. And I did that for a while. And then all of a sudden, they said to me, Zolkower, you don't need that dental technician stuff. We're going to give you'll be a medic with a helmet with a red cross on it. I says, what, are you kidding? He said, no, you will. And now so all of a sudden I get a transfer to the 92nd Mechanized Cavalry. And they needed a medic. I says, what for? Well, you go on a half track with 6 riflemen and a fellow standing up front with a 50 caliber machine gun, and you just go around looking for trouble. I did that for a while.
Did a lot of trouble find you?
No, they didn't. We didn't find much. And I was with the 92nd Mechanized Cavalry, 14th Armored Division for a while. And then I got my big break and I got transferred to the 120th Medical Battalion, Company C, Clearing Company, 45th Infantry Division, the Thunderbirds. The Thunderbirds, the Germans knew the Thunderbirds. We just kept pushing them back. And I was, what do you call it, in the Clearing Company. So they found out that I was a dental technician. So they said, Zolkower, you go and we have a maxillofacial team. I says, what's that? He said, all the wounded that got hit over here, you see, we had a dental officer and a medical officer and 3 technicians. And he come to us, guy, it was terrible. Guy without a chin, without a mouth, without a lot of blood because a lot of blood vessels. Couldn't save half of them. And that's what I did. I was with the 45th Infantry Division, Thunderbirds. I got a battle star for Central Europe. My unit got a presidential citation. We did a lot of blood.
Let me ask you, the clearing hospital, the clearing area that you were working in, how far back was that actually from the actual combat?
Well, it wasn't too far back.
Not far enough, right?
Yeah, back far enough. But once in a while, the Germans sent a bomb over. We had big tents with a big red cross on them, big, I'm really big, 6, 7 feet, big. Boom. But it wasn't that bad.
Mhm.
And that's
From
what,
the from the time someone was wounded, like you talk about some of these facial injuries, to the time they actually got back to where you were, do you know how long that took?
not too long. Not too
Not too
long.
long,
No.
right?
A lot of
Who would bring them?
stretcher bearers taking them from there.
Okay, okay, okay. Ray, you want to take it from here?
They're doing construction.
I don't hear him.
Okay, I'm back. Hi.
Okay.
Just some of the same period, backtracking for just a moment, back to when you were still in England. Did you have any time off at all where you could
Oh,
explore England?
I got to London. I went to Piccadilly. I got around. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Listen, when I was in, when I was in the National Guard and I was promoted to corporal. When I got into the other units, I was a private, and I kept asking, I want to get my rank back, right?
Mm-hmm.
My rating. Oh, he said the rating in what you got in the infantry has nothing to do with the medics. For all the time that I was in the infantry division and whatever I was doing, I tried to get my unit to give me my rating back. No. The TA type of organization has no ratings, this and that. But I said, I don't give a damn. I went over in the U.S., I was getting $21 a month. In Europe, I was getting $54 a month as a private. I didn't care. That's the way it was.
Okay, and again, maybe this is more appropriate for when you were in England. I don't know, or when you were on the continent. Were you able to correspond with your family back home anyway?
Oh, yeah, when we had these I forgot what they call them. These like a letter you could write to your, it was always checked out by the officers. They scrapped out everything you wrote, that didn't pertain. Oh yeah, I did. My girlfriend used to write me every other day.
Oh, and so you did get letters from home as well.
Yeah. Well, we used to get mail call all the time, first from A to Z and then from Z to A. So we didn't have to wait that long.
Mm-hmm. Well, having said that, I would like to move on. Again, in your previous interview with Helene, I realized that you did go to Dachau.
Oh, yes.
And that you, I don't want to get too far ahead of the game here, that you did arrive by train, but how long were you actually physically at Dachau?
Oh, I wasn't there maybe 3 hours or something. I didn't want to go there. I tell you, I said, I don't want to see all these dead people. They're all Jews. I don't want to go there, Mm-hmm. You got to go, Zolkower. You got to go. Okay, I went. Mm-hmm. I got some pictures of that, by the way. I got pictures of, we went, instead of the regular entrance, we went by the railroad. Mm-hmm. I was with a Company B, 179th Infantry, 125 riflemen. Mm-hmm. We got to the entrance, and there was a battle for a half hour. They wouldn't let us in. My company commander called headquarters and send a half track with a 50 caliber machine gun. All the guards, the women wouldn't want to put their hands on. The women guards were worse than the men. They killed them all.
Yeah, I've done some background reading on that, and that that was done, and it also may have been done by some of the liberated prisoners.
Well, not the ones that I saw. They were all
Yeah.
pretty sick.
Yeah. I also read, and I'm only asking this because I was wondering if you heard about it at the time, that you were in the 45th Infantry at the time, and I think it was the 42nd Infantry that arrived at the main gate, and that the two infantries were like jealous of each other to be the liberators. Did you ever hear anything like that?
No, sir. I didn't hear anything about that.
Okay. Do you recall any of your fellow troops, especially during that time? Did you make any lifelong friendships or remember who the commanders were?
I'll tell you the truth. When I got out over the years, I've been out like 75 years, I don't know. I never found anybody who was in the 45th Infantry Division. I never found anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Okay. So you were only at the camp for like 3 hours, that you said.
That's right.
And the reason I asked you about the Yiddish earlier, since the majority of the prisoners there were Jewish,
Yes.
I was wondering, and
They
and I
wanted
also,
cigarettes. That's all.
right.
They were told
Yeah.
not to give them anything to eat, or that would kill them.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any idea how the American troops were able to communicate, since they did not share a common language for the most part?
I don't know. I wasn't. I was standing in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ray, could I jump in with a question here?
Absolutely, please.
When you were told where you were going, you're going to Dachau,
Yeah.
were you aware you were going to liberate a concentration camp?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
I said I didn't want to go.
right. Well,
I said all those dead people are all Jews. I don't want to. You know.
so this was information and reading that you had done, or
Yeah, we knew about it.
you all knew about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let me ask you also. You said you followed the rail lines to
Yeah.
Dachau rather than the roads.
Boxcars were all full of dead people. It was terrible. It was terrible. The worst time I ever had in my life.
Why did they proceed along the rail lines rather than the regular roads?
That's what they were told to do, I guess.
Okay.
The regular street was like Long Island. Nice homes, beautiful homes. Homes. I got into one of them after a couple of days. I got those 2-story. Don't tell me they didn't know what the hell was going on. You know, right outside, just like a suburban Long Island.
So you would describe it as a nice area to live in, nice homes?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was beautiful.
Yeah, I know. How long did it take you to get from Munich to Dachau? Because it's about 20 miles.
Yeah, not long.
Yeah. And then as you went along the way, you saw residential areas, people living there.
I'm telling you, the Germans were terrible people.
And
So wait a minute, I didn't tell you the rest of the story.
sure.
What?
Let them ask the questions.
No, I'm going to tell them something they don't ask me about. The war was over May 8th, right? And I said, oh, thank God I'll go home, get married, and go back to school. And they said, oh, no, not you, Zolkower. You're going to go in the Army of Occupation. I said, what are you talking about? Oh, yeah, we need a medic. We're going to listen to this. We're going to put out a place called Gars, Germany, in the woods. We're going to take like a clinic. You're going to be in charge for the German farmers. They don't feel good. They hurt themselves. You take care of them. I took care of them. Yeah, I took. Everyone that came in, you Nazi, kein Nazi. I gave away more APCs than you know. That's all. It was a pain in the ass. So I spent 2 months after the war on that thing, and I finally got a call to go to Ulm and get a train to Cherbourg to get the ship.
Don, could I interrupt there for a second?
No, jump in.
You mentioned that those letters, what was it, APC? Or what was it, type of pill that you mentioned? That's all you gave the German farmers?
Aspirin, phenacetine, and caffeine. APC.
Oh, okay, APC, okay.
Everybody got the same thing, no matter what was wrong with them. Who cares? I didn't care.
Okay. You had also mentioned in the previous interview, you got to see your brother in Munich. I know the Battle of Munich was about the same time, but by the time you saw him, was it pretty much wrapped up?
Just about.
Uh-huh.
Just about. He was good with me. He saw me. He was in Corps headquarters, and he knew every place that I was.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd come to visit me and bring me a steak and a bottle of, I don't know what the hell, some kind of whiskey, and I didn't drink much. He was a good guy. He's a warrant officer. He was a great guy.
Mm-hmm. Now, if I could backtrack just for a minute, I was talking about the mail earlier. If I'm asked, did you have deaths in the family while you were in Europe, or?
No.
No. Okay. But how did you find out about your grandparents being killed?
I don't know. My mother found out. She used to send them money every month, go down to the American, some kind of German bond, German, what was the name of a, some kind of
Bank.
Yeah, bank. She sent her $5, $10.
Mm-hmm.
Then they found out somehow. I don't know how.
Okay. Don, I'm trying to remember if you're going to pick it up in Cherbourg or is it?
Yeah, I'd take the train from Ulm, Germany to Cherbourg, France, to Camp Lucky Strike. Camp Lucky Strike, I was there, I think, about 9 days. They played, I want to, let's see, what was that? Take a Sentimental Journey. They played that music day and night. I want to take a sentimental, for 10 days, day and night.
No other songs?
So we finally, I got to the dock and I saw the ship. I said, what the hell is this? Looks like a canoe, you know? It was a Kaiser ship, 10,000 ton, you know, one of these ships that they've been building in 60 or something.
Yeah, your audio was a little garbled there, but I think you were talking about Kaiser ships, which were those ones they built overnight almost, I guess.
10,000 tons.
Yeah.
Little boat.
But it got you home.
Yeah, it got me home, boy.
Okay. Was let me know.
I got
I'm
off.
asking your questions, or you want to jump in at any point, Don. But did you?
No, go ahead. You're doing great.
When you got back to the States, did the ship go to New York Harbor or somewhere else?
New York. I got off the ship in New York, and then when I got off, they gave me a little ticket. It said steak. It said steak and chocolate soda or something. I got that. But I thought I was going to be out of the Army. No, I went down to Camp Berkeley, Texas, for another couple of months before I was discharged.
Wow. So, but you got back to New York. Was there any family or friends to greet you, your girlfriend, or when you got off the ship, or did they know you were coming even?
I don't think they knew, no. Because they took me and put me in another train and sent me to Texas.
Don, did you have any follow-ups to that coming home type questions?
What did it feel like when you saw the States again? You got back.
Oh, it was great. It was great. It was New York. It was great. It was great.
So when you got off the ship, what happened? Where'd you go?
I got put on a train and went to Texas.
Right away?
Yeah.
Wow.
And you wanted to stay in New York.
I want to say New York is right. I'm a New Yorker, you know.
Right. And how long were you in Texas?
Oh, I think 2 months.
And that's when you were able to leave the Army?
Yeah, I was discharged there.
Yeah.
Thank God.
What year was that?
1946. Oh, wait, no, 40, December 45, I think.
Okay.
Did you take a train back from Texas to New York?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And I know you talked about some of this in the previous interviews, but you got home, you had a girlfriend, and you got married, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. 1946.
That's great.
68 years with my darling.
Okay. I've got a couple of GI Bill questions for you. Okay.
Yeah.
You said you went back to school, right? To finish your pharmacy degree?
Yeah, I did. BS in pharmacy.
Okay.
I was married. The school was no charge. Everything was free, the books, the this and that. Plus, being married, I got a $90 check every month. It was
and that was at Columbia, so you stayed in Manhattan?
Yes, Columbia University College of Pharmacy.
Okay. Don, anything? Otherwise, I'll keep going.
One of my instructors in pharmacy in the Columbia was Dr. Fermi. He was with the big bomb.
Nuclear?
Yes.
Yeah, he was one of my instructors in physics.
Enrico Fermi. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. You didn't say that before.
You went big time. What was he like?
I kept saying all the time, why do I have to know zoology and physics to make pills? I had calculus, scientific Germany, crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I went through it.
Well, and then your career, what you were a pharmacist,
Yes,
correct?
absolutely. I still am.
Still are.
I retired from active pharmacy in 1984.
Could you please repeat that? You got a little frozen. Where did you work?
You retired at 89 from
84.
CVS.
CVS, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
That's different.
Tell them part-time.
I was 1984. That was it. I was home and after a while, a couple of years, and my wife said, Murray, she said, you got to get out of the house. You got to get out of the house. I said, okay, I'll go to Eckert's home, the department there, where it is on US 19, and I'll ask for a part-time job, you know. And then I went in and I spoke to the supervisor. He says to me, what do you want? He wasn't not the guy. I says, I want to work part-time, 8-10 hours a week. That's all. He says, can you stand? I said, sure. You're hired. Okay. He put me on. That's when I was in Florida, you know. By the way, when I came to Florida, I didn't know didn't reciprocate with New York. And so 25 years of pharmacist, I got to say to state boards. I said to myself, how the hell am I going to do that? Then I said, I was a member of a pharmaceutical fraternity, Rho Pi Phi. I got in touch with the big guys, and they sent me all the copies of the tests from Florida. I studied them. I passed.
Okay. Let me backtrack before you move to Florida, if I could. I believe you said in the previous interview that also through the GI Bill, you were able to either build or buy a house.
Oh, yeah.
Where was that? Were you in the suburbs?
That was in what do you call it? Valley Stream, Long Island.
Okay.
Nice, beautiful house, $14,000. Beautiful.
So you worked in a local pharmacy at that time for most of your life?
I worked in Hitchcock Pharmacy at the Hotel Roosevelt in New York City on 46th Street and Madison Avenue. What a drugstore. I knew what's his name, Guy Lombardo was playing in it at the Grill. He was a nice guy. I knew the sergeant in charge of the area. I gave him a bottle of perfume. He let me park my car at 46th Street. I had a nice time.
Don, did you have any other questions?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Pharmacy was very nice to me. Pharmacy was very nice.
Sounds like you enjoyed your career.
My youngest son is a pharmacist also
Okay.
in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay. Well, one question we usually ask the people we talk to is kind of like goes like this. Is there anything you thought we were going to ask you but didn't ask you, or anything you'd like to say that you would like to have been asked?
I think I told you everything I can remember.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. No, fellas. You asked me just what I answered, and that's it. I'm very nice that you picked on me. Yes, I'm going to be 100 in February 6th.
Don, did you want to add anything?
Well, I wanted to thank him.
I
He's
think
been
I'll
very
make
generous
it.
with his time.
Yes. Sir, it was very an honor and a pleasure to talk to you. Your stories are interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. When I was when we were living in Valley Stream, I bought a pharmacy that this fella had, and do you know New York at all? In the five towns?
Yeah, I grew up just north of there in the suburbs in Rockland.
I bought a drugstore on Franklin Avenue, Hewlett, Long Island, where the Long Island Railroad had a station in Franklin Avenue. I was doing pretty good. And you know what happened? The Long Island, they closed the station. I went out of business.
Wow.
I can't remember that. So anyway, time went by, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I moved to Suffolk County. That was Nassau County. I moved to Suffolk County in Hauppauge. That was the big seat of the county, Hauppauge. And I was working there, nice, make good living. And a guy comes to me and says, I'm building a medical building, and I'm going to have a pharmacy unit, a retail pharmacy I want. He says, how about you opening a drugstore? I says, hey, that's not a bad idea. A professional pharmacy, just prescriptions and, hard stuff like canes and, but no toothpaste, no. Hauppauge Pharmacy. I had that. It was a nice drugstore, beautiful drugstore in the medical building with 20 doctors, 5 dentists. I thought I'd make a good living, right? So after a while, I didn't seem to get too many prescriptions from them. So I had a meeting. Oh, they said, Murray, that's unethical for us to send anybody to you. I says, now you're telling me that? I wound up having a delivery. I bought a Renault Dauphine. I delivered prescriptions. I made a good living. A guy comes to me and says, I like this store, a pharmacist. He says, you want to sell it? I said, if we give you the right money. I sold it to him. It was very nice. And then we went to Florida, 1971.
Well,
That's my
go ahead.
That's my story.
Okay.
I hope you liked it, fellas.
I thoroughly enjoyed it and appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, fellas.
Okay, Mr. Murray Zolkower, it's been a good day. Thank you very
And the
much.
reason I did so
go ahead.
well is that my credo in the drugstore was, when in doubt, charge more. Okay, fellas? Huh? Don't forget, the birth control pills in 1945 was $1.49. You know how much it is today? $40. $40 for Orthonovum.
1945. You mean 1960?
Well, again, thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.